Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. This is a light video on investment research based on what I see could happen actually in the next few years. I've seen this pattern before. Let me tell you an interesting story. All right, so way back when, I think it was 2008. I don't know if you can see my screen here. Way back when in 2008, all of the car manufacturers basically collapsed in price, and I noticed an opportunity in Ford's. Now, this was about 2008, 2009. I think they went down to about $1, and I was doing analysis on them, and I was looking at all of the car manufacturers or the automakers, I think they are called in the United States, and they plummeted in value. And I was going to invest. I was very young at the time. This is many years ago, 14 years ago, and I think at the time I might have been living at home. And this is a lesson about not to get financial advice from people who are not investors, because I asked my family members, should I be investing in automakers? And they thought I was mad to be investing anyway. And what proceeded to happen is it went up 10x in a very short space of time. If we look at this, March 2009, about, let's see, about February 2009, December 2010. So really not a long period of time. It 10x'd. What did I do then? I was pissed that I missed this opportunity. I was really pissed about it. Of course, they've gyrated since then, but this was more of a cyclical trade. I looked and I scoured the market to find companies which, I thought were cyclicals that were going to bounce, and I found Barrett Developments, and that went from, I invested about 100p, so I invested about here 100 to 150p is when I invested, and it took a while. But I eventually sold in 2016 for quite a big gain. It's 500-600x, something like that. I bought my house in 2016. So what I wanted to think about is what's happening now. Now the house builders, they have fallen, to be fair, already from a high of over 900, and they're about halfway down in this cycle. They're already halved in value. I think I've already talked about shorting the house builders. I've talked about that. I'm not going to look at that. But I am going to be thinking about automakers, because this could be a similar opportunity. Look, it looks like they've halved, more than halved, but there could be some way to go. They could still go to $2, $1. They could fall. I can't see people going out and buying a car in this market in the next few years, a new car, not that many people. So one could either think about shorting them. Options could be quite good because they're a very big stock. 44 billion is not a small stock. So put options could be could be a possibility, or indeed buying the bounce. I don't think any government is going to let Ford go down. Let's have a look at Tesla. I know Tesla reducing their prices. I actually annoyingly bought them at their high. So I bought them, and I've suffered greatly recently. It's bad timing on my behalf. I sold them recently for a £500 loss. Actually, I was quite gutted by that. But could they continue to fall? I think yes. I think all automakers will fall. What about GM, General Motors? Let's have a look at these bad boys. Yeah, they've halved in value just in the last very, very short period of time here. It is just over a year they've halved in value. I don't know why we can't go back to 2008 for the max chart for General Motors. Maybe I'm not quite sure what happened. Did the government buy them? I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, it's very strange here that we can't go back further than 2010. Nevertheless, I think there could be a bounce here. I think they could fall for a couple of years. I'm particularly interested in Ford because Ford, I believe, are the general man's car. And when there's cost of living squeeze globally, particularly in Europe, and I think it will come to America as well, particularly if the banking crisis continues. But I don't know. I'm not confident that the banking crisis will spread much. However, it's all built on trust and it could easily expand. Nevertheless, on Ford and car makers, I think their earnings are going to decline. I do. This Explorer is a new EV. Are people going to change from Tesla to Ford? I don't think so. I do not think so. If people are touting them as as a buy, I do not think they're a buy. Look at these quarterlies: net income down 90%, EPS down 90%, net profit margin down 91%. So it's not just sales that are down 90%, it's their profit margin as well. So that's interesting. Volumes are down, but also efficiencies are down. Even their revenues are up year on year. So I think Ford is an interesting one. I'm not going to be so bold as to short them. I'm already shorting the market, and it is an up and down ride, I can tell you. So I've got my shorts on until Q4 of this year. I don't know if I'm going to short the market too much more than I am now, but I'm quite interested to see if this falls in value more and more. I'd be interested if it got to something like 10 or 15 billion to see on the bounce, could this go back up to 40, 50, 60 billion? Could it be bought out by another company? Who knows? That's my video insight. That's my research. I know it's very high touch. I'm aware of this, but I can see a lot of signs here. They've got a bit of cash, 3 billion, but in the world of car making, that doesn't go very far. That does not go very far. I mean, look, you can see here they lost 1 billion in June. So it won't last that long. Actually, they keep missing on earnings. They missed on earnings in September. They missed on earnings in December. And this is a big deal. I think I don't think it's doing well. Revenue increased, blah blah blah. Now there's expectations they're going to make 12 billion. Obviously, that's interesting. If they do make 12 billion, the full year earnings, that could be interesting. But look at this operating income, 1 billion from 44. It's interesting. It's one to look at. I'm not going to go in depth here, but I do think that car companies are highly cyclical, and it could be an opportunity to look for the bounce, to monitor it in the spirit of sharing more and sharing my thinking more. I wanted to make a video about this. I think that automakers and house builders, the generally considered cyclicals, are going to suffer. I haven't done the in-depth analysis on the house builders just yet, but I'm seeing it all over the industry. Berkeley, Barratt Developments, Taylor Wimpey, and UK national house sales are predicted across the board to fall 50%. Across the board. I think when people aren't buying houses, they're not going to jump out and suddenly buy a 20 to 30,000 pound, dollar, euro car. That is my thesis, that these earnings of the big automakers are going to fall in the next 1 to 2 years. If you're brave enough, you could consider shorting. I'm not going to consider shorting right now, but I might be interested in buying the bounce. I always like an interesting play. I learnt it from Peter Lynch, his books. If you haven't read them, I strongly encourage you to read One Up on Wall Street, one of the best investment books ever written, in my opinion. And it goes well into detail about cyclicals. And this is a really interesting period in time. Don't come around that often. The last time was 2008, 14, 15 years ago, a long time ago. And this could be another junction on the downward cycle. And it's interesting. Guys, if you like these videos about the listed markets or angel investing, property, etc., I cover lots of different asset classes. I have a broad interest in investment. I would consider myself to have some skills in analysis and commercial awareness. That helps me to make some of these investment decisions. They're not always right. I'm definitely not always right, but I'm often more right than wrong, which is what's important when you're investing. Knowledge is power, special like kind of knowledge. Progress is everything. There'll be some other videos around here. If you're interested, check them out. If you know anyone that wants to learn more about investing, there are a lot of people now that don't necessarily understand the fundamentals, and it is not rocket science. It is easy to learn, guys. I want to make that message clear. Everybody can learn about investing. Everybody can take control of their investment future, of their future in general. Guys, knowledge is power, special like knowledge, and I'll see you guys in the next upcoming video. Take care. Cheers.